Welcome one and all, my name is Tawess, and today we are going to be painting, well, one mech from the Crescent Hawks, but in reality this is the fourth of the mechs I'm painting. And yeah, welcome back, new year. Haven't posted a video in a while. Took some weeks off, needed that, very much needed that. Now, back with some new energy. These are not official models. These are 3D printed. 3D printed. And you know what? I'm still not entirely sure if I should mention who makes them. But yeah, I'll post a link down there if need be. Why I'm not entirely sure I should post them, because I'm actually not entirely sure what Catalyst Game Lab's policy regarding proxies are. I think they're pretty okay with it, but I don't know. And as such, why risk it? Anyway, new year. Welcome back. This is a long as heck video, because you know what? I'm being lazy. Yeah, there's it. This is a long video because I'm being lazy. Well, not really lazy as much as my computer isn't doing very well right now, and it's having a hard time with editing in general. So I was like, you know what? Instead of fighting myself through cutting down this 40-minute monstrosity down to the regular 10-ish minutes, how about just let it run? Let people see the entire process. This is the entire painting process, minus the airbrushing. The airbrushing was done before because, again, it is a real hassle to set that up, and then one day I'm going to accidentally spray paint my camera. And since my camera right now is also my phone, we are not taking that risk. No, sir. Not today. We are not taking the risk of accidentally airbrushing our phone. Because it's brand new. And insurance does not cover accidentally airbrushed it. So, airbrushing happened off screen. But there's nothing fancy in this. This is just basically demonic yellow. Just hit it with the demonic yellow until it's done. It took a few coats. Yellow. Difficult shit. So yeah. Anyway, that is the thing. You're gonna watch me paint this thing from start to finish, minus a 15-ish minute gap where I actually had it drying. You're gonna see later. I applied a black wash and then that had to dry. So apart from that, this is the full process, because I'm pretty sure that no matter how invested you're in my content, sitting there watching paint dry for 15 minutes is not fun. So I'm sparing you that one. You can thank me later. No, you don't need to thank me for that. But yeah, there's a slight cut there. But otherwise, pretty much the entire process from start to finish. And I'm gonna be even more horrible, not probably with any timestamps either, because I'm full on asshat today. But you know what? Again, it's been fun to see how oh god, there's so much echo in here. Yeah, I'm gonna see how this goes. So you might wonder, Crescent Hawks. What is a Crescent Hawk? I'm glad you ask. Can't answer right now because I closed that tab. Let's go and open that tab again. You can now hear me hitting the keyboard. Let's bring up the information again. I know most of it, but this is just to make sure that I don't go outside of things. So yeah, anyway. Crescent Hawks are a unit from the video game to begin with. That meant that they was placed outside of the greater Battletech canon. They were a non-canonical unit, but they, of course, had their share of fans. Basically part of two games. The Battletech Crescent Hawks Inception and the Revenge game. Set in the pre-clan animation era. And, well, that could have been it. For the most part, that was probably it. But, as with everything great and historically important, this, after a while, became integrated into the regular Battletech lore, or canon. And, well, they are now actually unit within the universe. Not really in the same way that the cartoon was integrated as a spoofy Hollywood. It's really fun. Check that out, by the way. It's so stupid. But yeah, Crescent Hawks, fairly regular mid-size mercenary unit for intents and purposes. You have, I think, one of the characters as a character card in the one of the boxes, I think, as a pilot card. But yeah, what we are painting is basically based on the traditional command lands. And that, if I remember correctly, is a it's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. It's not a bad mix either, but it has its limitations. I think it has a Valkyrie in there somewhere, and I mean, whenever you have a Valkyrie in anything, you're bound for trouble, because that is a very small and very squishy mech, basically. So yeah, and the color scheme is based on the Dragoons one, which just changes the colors to grey, blue and yellow instead of the black and red, which is a welcome change, seeing how about 70% of all the mercenary units out there have black, red, or a combo of the two. So I mean, it's nice to see something that's a bit different. And technically in this case, it didn't really matter what color I started with, because there's a lot of painting going on. But whenever you paint yellow, trust me, it's always best to start with the yellow, because yellow do not like any other paints. And I guess there's something to the pigment in yellow, but they are very, very hard to get a good coverage with. I mean, not impossible hard, or oh my god, I'm not going to be able to paint this hard, but compared to a red or a blue, they're difficult. So we started out with the yellow, and then we painted the blue bits blue. And yeah, it's interesting. Now, I have a Alpha Strike box coming, I think. I might have two, because I did order one, but it was back order. They were like, oh, we can't fill this order right now. And it's a bit shaky when they're actually going to arrive. But the store also had one sitting that had a box damage in it. I was like, it's just the box got smacked. And I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm not a collector in that regard. So I put that on order too. So now I'm going to try and cancel the previous order. As soon as I see that this one is shipped, I'm going to cancel that order. But in case that is not doable, I'm going to end up with two of them. Maybe I can do something with it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, properly, I have no clue. Hopefully I'm able to cancel it, because I don't really need two of them. But on the other hand, considering what boxes cost these days, it's not a bad deal either. But that is still about comparatively $80. Or as it's known locally, is about 840 something Swedish crowns with shipping. Okay, we said it was free shipping, but it's not free shipping. And I say, I think I have about one retailer in the entire country that actually sells these things. So I'm happy to have that, but it is not an easy access thing. They don't have any specialty mech either. I want that, but they don't have that. We have the basic stuff. I wish we had the more of the boxes and stuff, but then again, it is what it is. Now, I'm looking forward to the Kickstarter, and I assume that Kickstarter will have an option to add on all the stuff that I'm currently unable to get a hold of. Because that is one of the things we're hoping for. That it's gonna be expensive. I'm gonna spend a lot of money on that. I'm gonna get a big box with a lot of mechs in it. I'm not entirely sure why I need more mechs, because I have 2 entire shelves full of mech. But you can't have too many mechs. Or I guess you can, but I don't think you can have too many mechs. I'm also gonna put up a poll and see what clan people want to paint. So if you have an idea, if I'm interested in what clan I'm supposed to be painting, I'm gonna put that forward. I'm also gonna actually put a little short video up talking about that, but that's a later problem. Yeah. Beyond that, right now, we are going to stick with the 1 video a week for now. I have a few other things rambling around, slushing around in the background that will eat up some of the time. And among those things are a course. Basically, it's a... I don't know what you call it. Basically, it's an old course that I took, failed, and I'm gonna redo it to get the credit for it, so I can then apply for a university course. Seeing how part of what I'm going to do is trying to further educate myself. And once that hits, we might have to even look at 1 video each other week, because I don't know. It is one of these things right now, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go. But that's a major problem. That is not a problem for now. But for now, due to this, we're going to stick with 1 video a week. And I'm going to try and make the quality better. But there's no promise in that, because to be quite honest, I was not particularly great of a camera person to begin with. I know how to edit videos, I know how to do things, but I never really had the patience for good camera work. And as I'm going to show you my setup someday, it is glorious. I'm going to clean it up a bit, but it's glorious. It's basically a little IKEA desk. That is the grand total of my space to work on. So it's not the best either. Not that is an excuse or anything. It's just the application of how things are doing. But yeah, that is it. Now, I would love to be like, I'm gonna have a giveaway of the second Alpha Strike box. But here's the thing: you and me, my dear viewers, we are too few for me to actually have a giveaway. Especially of something that expensive. Because the reach is so poor for these sort of things, and I mean that as an honest. The reach is really poor. You're gonna be reaching like perhaps 1 to 2% of the people watching your videos with a giveaway, and that is not that much of a deal when you have like, I don't know, few thousand. Few tens of thousands of viewers, but I don't have tens of thousands of viewers. I wish I had, but I don't. I love you all, but you ain't that many yet. So we're not gonna do that. And we give away a mech or something. I can paint a mech and give away. You know what? How about we make that a deal? When we hit 500 subscribers, if we hit 500 subscribers, we're gonna give away 2 mechs. An Innisphere and a clan mech. That sounds like a good idea. Good deal. But yeah, beyond that, not much to do, is it? Oh, and my video froze entirely. I'm now down to like 6.5 frames a second, because my computer do not like to play back full on HD video in my editing software. It's an old computer, it's not really made for that. So yeah, I'm down to 6.5 frames per second. How I can explain what 6.5 frames per second looks like? It's a very slow comic book. That is what it looks like. Because your brain is wired to see, I think it's 24 frames per second. So basically your eye pings the world 24 times per second, creating visual emotion, because otherwise you would just... I think it's quicker in reality, but for intents and purposes, when you record things, you don't need more than 24 frames per second to get a fluid, smooth motion. So now imagine taking 1/4 of that. It gets very choppy. I mean, you're not going to be seeing this as I talk about it, because for you the video is going to be smooth because it's going to be rendered and everything, of course. But for me now, when I'm sitting here looking at the screen, that is what is happening. I bet it is fun behind the scenes work, you know. Sometimes that can be fun to know the struggles of creating video content. Anyway, that is its own thing. I'm not going to do a video on that. There are tens of hundreds of people out there. They are way better than me doing that. Explaining the entire intricate process of making video. And I'm not going to do that. I can do a lot of other things, but I'm not going to do that. It's not my thing. And in a way, it makes me glad I'm not using Adobe Premiere, because Adobe Premiere eats resources and grow. I'm using DaVinci Resolve, which is a lot leaner program in that regard, but still, it is struggling. And also partially because I need to clean my computer up. Can't be arsed. Something is clogging up my C drive, and I can't really figure out what it is. It's something. It's unimportant, but it's something. So yeah. And beyond that, we're going to leave the whole editing thing behind. We're also slowly moving up to a place where I'm not soon going to start slathering the thing with a blackwash. Now, I actually had a question about that. Why I do it this way. Like, layers, blackwash, and then paint it back up again. When there are simpler steps like panel lining and stuff. And that is basically like this very aggressive dark tone. I don't know why I like it, but I just do like it. It gives me I shouldn't say a comic book look to it, but somewhat slightly actually a bit of a comic book look to it with these really sharp, harsh shadows. And I like that. It is fun. I'm not saying it's the best choice, but it's a choice and I kind of like it. Now, as I said, these are 3D printed, meaning they're also a bit rougher than usual to paint because they have the lines from the layer lines. And while they're not that much an issue, most of the time you can pick them up on the dry brush and other things. Dry brushing a 3D printed model you haven't sanded is it is a task. Let me say that much. It's definitely a task because you have these tiny microscopic ridges, but when you dry brush them, they pick up on them. Especially on surfaces that have large areas that have been shifted. Circles is classic for this. Not circles. Spheres. Use the correct terminology. Spheres. Round objects with 3D printed have a really noticeable effect on them. You can see each layer. Especially as it gets close to the top. But yeah. It is also something with the texture. The texture is different from plastic. It's I personally consider it to be a bit more difficult to paint. But it's not difficult as in more difficult as such, but it's different. You have to think a very different way. And I'm not a big fan of that. Especially on mechs it's difficult, so flat surfaces. Smaller models, pretty okay. I also have a pile sitting now with cars and stuff that are going to go into the diorama building side of things, but I'm still not confident enough in my ability to do that. So we're currently keeping off that. that is the thing coming up. I actually got a real nice box recently with my... When I ordered my resin, it came in this nice little square box there, considering turning into a house, because it has the right shape for it. It's like big, chunky skyscraper thing, without too much work. You're just gonna dress it up nicely. But yeah, that's pretty much where we are right now. Did my program just... I don't know. Maybe it did. Yeah, looks like it. I think my program just crashed. Again, not that it does not really matters for you, because you don't see it, because again, the video is rendered separately from the audio. And again, I'll keep this in, because I can show you like how the entire process could go. But yeah, a lot of weird things happens when you do these things sometime. So yeah, this is basically the process for me recording this thing. And usually I would have stopped here, erased, come back, re-recorded a bit, fixed that, recorded over some other bit. But as I say, in the concept of showing raw how these things are, I'm gonna leave this in because it's fun. It's fun to see behind the scenes a bit. And if you don't do that sometimes, I think it's easy to get a false idea of how easy things are. Things are not easy. These are not things that just magically appear. There's a lot of work going into videos. Now, if you look to the right corner, you can see some of the other mechs already painted, and you might wonder, why is this the fourth one? It's like, because I was getting to grips with the paint scheme. I was testing a few things with other mechs to make sure that I like it. They're not all identical. They have their own little quirks to it. But for intents and purposes, it is what it is. It's kind of fun. Now, basically what we're doing right now is picking the paint back up from the dull down effect of the Nuln oil. We're picking things back up with the same color that we did the first layer in. And then we're going to hit that brighter stuff afterwards, because in essence what we have is this... it almost gets a bit of... how should I put it? It's not really... it's not splotchy per se, but it's a bit... it still has a shift in texture. A bit of texture to it, basically. Also, I'm sometimes use a bit of a slight stipple, like putting in small dots and chunks of paint, because again, I think it lends itself to a nice style. It's not the most refined way of painting, but it looks fairly decent nonetheless. And I kind of like it, the effect it gives. But again, each to their own. Some people don't like this style, other people want it to be like smooth, super smooth. I kind of like this style. It makes me happy, and as I said before, the most important thing in this is that you make painting a joyful experience. It shouldn't be something that you don't like. Because if you paint without passion, that is just pain, in essence. We have enough of that going around in the world right now that we don't need to put pain into our hobby. Because putting pain into our hobby is a good way to lose the interest in said hobby. And we need hobbies right now. Because the 20s are turning into another shit. Just like the old 20s, the last 20s. These 20s are also going really bad. And I find it fascinating. Now, the plans I have for the Alpha Strike box is a... I'm still debating between making it a like Jade Falcon versus, I don't know, Draconis Combine or something, or maybe I make it a Ghost Bear Russell Haug thing. I don't know. I'm definitely going to go the route of painting the mechs into two solid factions, and not my usual fancy of painting things like whatever I feel like and then just put them together. No, these can be a bit more coherent. So that's what I'm thinking. But I'm also not entirely sure which clan I should pick, or what mercenary company or house unit I'm gonna pick. I could just make it easy on myself and be like, oh, now we're gonna do Eridiani Light Horse. And for those unaware of the joke in there, is that the Eridiani Light Horse are using a basic drab. Unless they need to have specific camo. The things like base drab, a green, plain green, very easy to paint. Difficult to get to look really good, very easy to paint. And I think you have something similar in the clans to some clan units paint schemes where just basic one color. Again, easy to paint, difficult to get to look really good. I'm pretty sure that if I go with the Ghost Bears, we are going to do oh god, what is the name of it? No, completely spaced on it. The ones with the flames. The good flame pattern, the white and with a flame pattern, because I like flame patterns. They're fun. They look good. And I'm considering being a bit self-indulgent, if you like, and paint the Innisphere unit up as my old MechWarrior Online unit, giving a slight shout out to the Shield Wall of Rasselhaug. A great concept. We kind of ended up with a bit of a lack in execution, but it was still fun. We had a lot of fun. And so this is going to be some classic VS pairings, because it's kind of fun to have. But we'll see. If you have an idea of a pairing clan versus Innisphere unit you want to see on these, as always, put a nice little okey pokey down in the comment section if you kind of like. I or not. It doesn't matter if you don't like to do that sort of thing. Also, I wish I had any really big or fun news to comment beyond that, but I don't really have that. We are on a slow burn right now. And we're probably going to be slow burning for a while forward. Because, as I said, my schedule is pretty packed as it is. I work full time and I'm going to read this course. So, things are going to be very packed as is. And once we have a few months between like February and June, we can probably ramp things up a bit. Then I'm gonna hit vacation, and that's one of these things that I don't know how we're gonna handle, because on one hand I want to spend a lot of time painting mechs, but on the other hand I also want to like sleep and not do stuff. I also might be called in to help move things, because my family are going to be moving things, maybe. Well, my siblings and my parents, that is. So I don't know. All these things like, I don't know how we're going to do. So I think we're going to keep things low, slow, careful, not overdo ourselves. As for diorama building, I have a building. I built a building on paint, and I'm trying to paint that on camera. And I want to test buildings. If you follow my Instagram, which is a really good place to see things as they happen, you have seen me post an image of it and a small little adorable shed building. Not a shed, but you know how it is. So yeah, head over to Tawess the me with 2 E's on Instagram. You can see some of the work in progress stuff. Among other things, the image of the cars that we're talking about. I usually post up images of the mechs there as they get made, even if they're part of a larger project. And again, if you're not interested, no worries. I don't demand anything from anyone. I have a hope of launching some form of Patreon service. I don't know, not a service, but a thing anyway. With some content, perhaps after the summer, depending a little bit on what we do. And but I'm really, I have no idea what I'm going to put on there to actually make it worth paying money for it. So basically, if you would like to do that sort of thing, it's technically already live. There's nothing on there, but it's just sitting there being a thing. And as I say, I'm never ever going to paywall any of my content, so there's no risk in that. It's more like, yeah, we kind of want you to stay alive and eat. Okay, that is not really risky because I still have a job, but it's nice nonetheless to have a bit of extra money spending on mix, paints, resin cleaners, fluids. Surprisingly expensive hobby, resin 3D printing. You think that the models themselves are basically cost free, but so it takes a lot of time, and there's a decent amount of costs involved anyway. But it's fun. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what else we're gonna be doing. There's a lot of things I don't know right now. Things are very uncertain. But I would suggest you put this on mute instead of just put on that music and watch me paint things. Because it's kind of interesting process actually to see this take shape. Sort of mold out of this grey epoxy and become a thing. But yeah, a lot of things going forward is going to be dependent on when the Kickstarter gets shipped. Because last time, we all know that took a lot more time than we thought it was going to take. Shipping was not quick. Not that we blame Catalyst, they kind of ran into a few unforeseen problems. But at the same time, it affected me, it affected many others. Hopefully this will be a bit more quick, a bit more snappy. And if we're lucky, we maybe have all these things rolled out already by the fall. That would be nice. Have the entire winter painting new mix. That'd be fun. Because I think I have most of the mix now. I'm still mixing the ad hoc clan star, and we really need to get that one because it contains the Kodiak. And as a Ghost Bear player, I kind of need the Kodiak. Not because it's necessarily a great mech. It is kind of a great mech. But because it's a totem mech. And we kind of need it. I am also going to continue the basic series, I promise. I double promise we're going to make it next. It's probably going to be the next video up actually, because I have a few parts of it already recorded. And it's going to be, we are going basics. It's going to just be base coding. Covering black, white, why we do it, grey, black on grey, white on grey, and why some paints shouldn't be put on black. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I promise. It is coming up. Should probably be in next week's video if I get everything done properly. But otherwise, it's going to come in the next couple of weeks, guarantee. But I'm aiming on to get it next week. Beyond that, I don't really have much in the way of videos planned right now. As I just painting that scenery. If I get the abstract box, I'm gonna build and spruce up some of the scenery in there because it's pretty basic. And if I get a hold of some nice files, I might start printing a large scale mech just for fun of it. Because there are some really nice large scale models out there on different 3D model sites, and it's kind of fun. So looking forward to that too. It will be interesting in its own right. I'm not entirely sure how that will go though, because again, time and money. But yeah, this has been a very rambly video, and I kind of like that because it is the first video of the year. This is sort of a kicking off video, and you would think that this is the first video, we're gonna do something really awesome. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do a simple, basic, slow and rambly, ease in video to let people be like, yeah, I can sit here listening to this. I'm not sure why you would be listening to this, but if you want to listen to it, or just watch it and just have music on the background, painting along, having fun, painting your own Crescent Hawks perhaps. Because they're a cool unit. And I saw the release list, by the way. The post from Catalyst on upcoming things. There's a Cranston Snorts Irregulars box coming. We're gonna have to get that one. 100% guaranteed we're gonna get the Cranston Snorts Irregulars box. I don't know why I love the crazy gang of kooks as much as I do, but they are adorable. So yeah, that is one of the things I hope get added on to the Kickstarter. My retailer do have the Hanson Rough Riders listed for like summer release. I'm like, I don't want to wait that long. I got the Dragoons one. I think there's a Kellhounds coming too. There's a Northern Highlanders coming, I think. I seem to remember. And there is a what was it? It was more. There was not a unit, I think, in the list. So I'm gonna pick those up too. They are not special as such, but they are also not special. And as I say, I like this simple, easy painting thing. Because as much as I love Games Workshop's Warhammer 40k, I'm not painting an army. No siree. Not at all. And I'm currently a bit like, I don't know if I want to start pushing that content out of my content too, because it doesn't never necessarily do very well. But I have an idea for that too. I'm doing a bit of a little scene when the new Dark Angel Chapter Master model comes out, because I like that. But that's also a later issue. So yeah, believe it or not, we are rounding up towards the end of the video. I mean, that is shocking, I know. Who would have thought we actually would make it to the end of this thing 40 some minutes later? I could have cut this down a lot. I decided not to. If you are just skipping to here, hello, hi, welcome. I hope you enjoyed some of the video. And I do really hope you enjoyed some of the video, because I actually enjoyed making it. No matter how much I complain about it, I still actually enjoyed making it. But I also know myself, and I tend to also just be like, oh, I'm gonna just skip around in the video and look at things, because that is how we do things. Now this is a part where most of things would be like, oh, call to action. I was like, no, call to action. you know yourself. If you're here, you're here. If you're not here, you're not here. If you're not here, you're technically not hearing this anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, that is the full process of me painting a mech from start to finish without cuts, without any beautification of the process, without any retakes, rehashes, redos, redos. And so there's just going to be the beauty shots left. You're going to see all 4 models properly displayed as a beautiful little thing. Because they are a beautiful little thing. So, until next time, stay safe, be kind, and as always do play fair. Bye.